Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to December's County Council meeting. If you'll stand, Councilman Sanders will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Maple.
Please bow your heads with me, please. Father God, I just thank you so much for today and the beautiful weather and the sunshine. We thank you for everybody that's in here, and we just ask that you would continue to bless us, and we thank you for all the blessings you've given to everybody in the county. Be with us as we make difficult decisions to further the county government for Howard County. We just ask that you would be around those in need this time of year and bring them heat and joy, and as we get ready to start the holiday celebrations. In your holy and precious name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Our first order of business will be to approve the regular meeting minutes for November. Everyone's had a chance to read through them. Are there any questions or comments concerning the minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to
Will we
approve.
approve or second the motion, second Martha's motion to approve?
The motion has been properly made and seconded by Councilwoman Lake and Councilman Faulkner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Next order of business will be to address the additional appropriations. Madam Auditor?
Ordinance number 2023-HCCO-49, additional appropriations. Whereas it has been determined that it's now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the 2023 annual budget. Now therefore be it ordained by the County Council of Howard County, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Additional appropriations: reassessment fund, insurance, $12,500, total reassessment fund, $12,500, county user fee, project income, maintenance and service contracts, $10,000, total county user fee, project income fund, $10,000, total additional appropriations for all funds, $22,500.
Thank you very much. If we could have County Assessor Mindy Hetty come up and explain to us about the reassessment fund, please. Hello.
Evening, all. Happy December.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
I'm going to say this is because more people were moved into the reassessment fund than what I budgeted for originally last year, and so that fund is short. I budgeted just my staff, and then you guys moved Center Township over, so I'm saying that's why the insurance fund is short.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments for
Is it in the red now?
Mindy?
Okay.
Good.
I think that'll do it.
All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in. And for the county user fee project income fund, can we have Dustin DeLong?
Good afternoon.
Hi, Dustin.
I actually believe I spoke to this the last time I was here, which was 2 weeks ago. So this is a $10,000 additional appropriation, our maintenance and service contracts. This money will be used to pay for our collections agency. So we have a collections agency that helps us collect home detention user fees and work release user fees. Those participants are permitted to pay at our kiosk, and then we give the percentage that's owed to the collection agency their percentage. We hope to end that process so that we just messy. We'd much rather just have them pay the collection agency and then send us our funds. So that will be ending at the end of this year, but we need to finish that up.
Mhm.
That is what that additional appropriation is for.
How much do you collect a year in user fees? Just out of curiosity.
Between.
And how many
100
people are contributing to it?
Yeah, so it varies. Our home detention and work release, we collect about between $100,000 and $140,000 a month. That's our typical income in those accounts. Some months a little bit less, some months are a little bit more, depends on holidays and such. We try to incentivize people paying their user fees. We have a few other user fee accounts, and I'll be quite honest, I don't remember the income. It's
Mhm.
under $20,000 for both of them per month for probation and for our alcohol and drug. Our work release, we typically are running around 100 folks in there, just under 100 folks in work release. So we have 80 beds for males and 40 for females. We're running about 50% to 75% capacity on the females regularly now. And we're running pretty full on the men's. More often than not, we have a waiting list for that. Our home detention program, we're in the high 200s, 280 plus on home detention and electronic monitoring in the community. We've seen an uptick in our home detention population and our work release population that are pre-conviction. The objective was to remove them from incarceration in the jail, and then they go to our programming where they're either on, they're on 24-hour GPS either place, but GPS location and or work release. So more of those folks than ever before are on our list. I think my last jail list was we have about 4,000 folks in the community that we're responsible for. Some of those people are in jail, some of those people have warrants, some of those people are in the Department of Corrections. That's people who we have on supervision and anticipate them returning to supervision after they deal with whatever current legal situation they have. That includes our pretrial population too. So it's not just post-conviction.
That was quite a lot of information. That's really something. And you said that there's a waiting list to get into work release.
For the males, generally we run right at capacity. We have an influx of in and outs every single month, pretty significant number of changes that happen on a monthly basis. Work releases kind of complicated and difficult to operate because they're processing 100 people in and out of the building more than once a day, generally, sometimes twice a day. And that's where the difficulty with the work release comes in, because we have to make sure there's no contraband making it up into the dorms, make sure everybody's safe, make sure that they're actually going to work, and that they come back. So there's seems relatively simple, but there's a lot of moving pieces to it.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Where do most of them go for work, or is it a wide variety of?
It's a wide variety. We've been very fortunate in this community to have a lot of folks who will hire people with felonies in this community and in surrounding counties. So our community corrections programs, people who participate in those are permitted to work in our county and a donut county, because we can't monitor them efficiently if they're 3 counties over. We don't know if they're at work or at a bar. Our GPS will tell us they're at a building. Without a lot of research, we can't tell where they're at. We can't check on them and can't tell what they're doing. So we try to keep it limited to our donut counties. And again, we are fortunate. We have employers who come do interviews at our work release facility multiple times a month, different places, and they will hire our people from work release and home detention and probation. So it's not an issue that we've had as of since the beginning of our work release program, but that always changes with the economic status of the community and the economy. So,
Thank
is there
you.
anything else? All right, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Have a great
Justin.
weekend.
Appreciate
Happy
it.
holidays.
Yep. That was very interesting. Are there any questions or comments about the 2 presentations? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve the additional appropriations as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilman Faulkner and Councilman Maple. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. We can move on to transfers next.
Resolution number 2023-HCCR-23 transfers. Whereas the county council may approve the transfer of money from one major budget classification to another within a department or office if the transfer does not require their expenditure of more money than the total amount set out in the budget as finally determined, and if the transfer is approved at a regular public meeting and by the proper ordinance. Be it resolved by the County Council of Howard County that it's desired and deemed necessary that the following transfers be made within the accounts of the designated funds as set out below. County General, no department employee expenses, insurance to FICA, $100,000, insurance to PERF, $100,000. Auditor, second deputy finance to first deputy property, $47.10. Second deputy finance to first deputy finance, $366.85. Prosecutor, deputy prosecutor, magistrate court to deputy prosecutor, Superior Court 4, $17,640. Deputy prosecutor, magistrate court to deputy prosecutor, Superior Court 3, $49,811.68. Public defender, continuing education to office supplies, $500. Maintenance and service contracts to office supplies, $43.63. Travel and training to office supplies, $250. Law books to office supplies, $2,652.08. Information system, travel and training to computer supplies, $5,000. Lit special purpose fund, no department, employee expenses. Insurance to FICA, $90,000. Insurance to PERF, $120,000. Cumulative cap development fund, information systems, computer maintenance to communications, $4,300. Computer maintenance to computers, hardware, software, $2,200. Health fund, insurance to PERF, $8,000. Lit public safety fund, insurance to FICA, $5,000. Auditors and eligible deduction fund, second deputy finance to first deputy finance, $104.12. Title 4D incentive prosecutor fund, FICA to insurance, $1,800.
Thank you very much. It looks as though, Madam Auditor, that you have a lot of these yourself to present to us.
I
Would you like
do.
to just go through the list from top to bottom,
Sure.
please?
Okay, for our county general, this is just cleanup for the end of the year. These are employee expenses that need to be paid from this fund. So we took money from the insurance to put towards the FICA and PERF so that we do not run out of money before the end of the year. Does anybody have any questions about that? That's the same for our lit special purpose fund also. The auditor, second deputy finance to first deputy, and second deputy to first deputy finance and property. This was a PAC approved change that we did, I think last February. And when I transferred money, I just didn't transfer enough money. So that's what happened on the first one, and that's the same for the 1216 fund. We pay 3% of our salaries out of that line as well. So that's what that shortfall is for also.
So when you do that, when you say that, it's I think you mentioned something about if a employee works overtime, that throws the calculations off and you have to feed more
Yes,
into
for the FICA
PERF
and
and
PERF.
FICA. Yeah.
Yes. So
Okay.
anything above your salary, actually anything within your salary or any hours that you work, any amount of money you make, it's based on a percentage. So those
And-
numbers are gonna fluctuate a little bit.
So we're just kind of cleaning up the spreadsheet here, what
Yes.
we're doing.
Yes.
Okay. And did you talk about lit special purpose? Did you talk about that one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Might be all of mine.
Are there any questions or comments for Jessica?
So is it because you're an auditor that you take it to the dime there on that 4710 instead of rounding it up to 50?
Yes, which it'll actually round it in Gateway, but yes, that sure is the reason.
Okay, take note of that, Jeremy. All right, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Well, our next presenter will be Prosecutor Mark McCann, please.
One fan, thank goodness. Thought I was down to 0. I spoke on this last week, asking for the transfer out of the budgeted amount for the magistrate deputy that has gone unfilled since beginning of January, asking that 17, so in that line item, there's about 63,000 plus, asking that be 17,640 be transferred to the deputy prosecutor 4D, or I'm sorry, Superior Court 4 for Deputy White, and then also 49,811 from the magistrate to the deputy prosecutor Superior Court 3, which is the position I'm going to hopefully combined in 2024 into full-time. So, then the other item we have is housekeeping. My understanding was for the 4D, from the 4D incentive fund, from FICA to insurance to make sure we're positive in the thing.
Are there any questions or comments for Prosecutor Mark McCann? Thank you for coming in.
All right.
And thanks
Save
for
your energy for Jerry.
I will say, I appreciate you forwarding that article about
Yeah.
the news article on the shortages.
She's, Kara's, she covers this area and she does a fairly good job, you know, as a prosecutor. I'm kind of happy with her, but she's been real active in the judicial system and kind of gets, I don't know, picks up on these stories and goes with them. So that's been a hot topic. And like I said, you know, I think the state's going to take this issue up on the shortage of lawyers. One, I thought the most interesting part was the mayor of Bricknell. And, you know, I thought that was if you all saw it, but, you know, the young guy who grew up there and wants to go back, there was no lawyers there and doing a service, but it affects everybody, not only the judicial system. So I appreciate you taking a look at that.
Thanks for the information.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll move on down to, let's go with Jeremy Stevens from Information Systems.
Good evening.
Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for coming in.
I'm here requesting to transfer $4,300 from computer maintenance, account number 1138-32141-0009601 to communications. From computer maintenance, may have said that backwards, and $2,200 to computers, hardware, software. I won't list, I think she's got all the numbers up there. As that's from the CUM Cap Fund. I'm also here requesting to transfer $5,000 from the general fund training account to the general fund computer supplies account. This is basically to cover the end of year expenses with communications. There was one of our internet service providers jacked up the fee earlier in the year and just kind of won't be able to get to the end of the year and pay the last bills without transferring the money. And the same thing with training, the computer supplies, where we can order the equipment needed for positions that we're going to start on January 1st. I think the public defender's got a new person. We need to get them all set up. And yep, it's just a transfer, not requesting any additional money.
Sounds clean cut. Any questions or comments for Jeremy Stevens? Jeremy, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We could have Health Department's James Vest. James, good morning, good afternoon, how are you?
How are you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just requesting a transfer of $8,000 from insurance to PERF to cover a shortage.
Same
Any questions?
reason for people to work more than what you thought?
That, and that we've taken a few additional full-time employees that have transferred from part-time to full-time, or
Yeah.
from grant to full-time, so,
Mhm.
and that's what's thrown it off, so. That is it.
How's the Health Department doing?
Doing good,
Ramping up?
certainly.
Yeah.
Yep, there'll be a lot more going on in January. We'll have
Yeah.
some positions to post with the First Indiana funds. so
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of action going.
I've noticed a lot of Facebook or YouTube videos
Yeah.
in this room on YouTube, so.
They're doing a great job with
Yeah.
those, I think. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen those, they're either on our Facebook page. I think Jeremy has them on the YouTube county page as well, and some other places to see. So trying to do pertinent health topics or whatever. I think it's right on next month. We've already worked on. So.
Yeah, seems like
All
a
sorts
new
of
one
new-
every week I look at it, so.
Yeah. The word out. Get as many views as we can.
That's very awesome. Yeah, thank you, because I didn't know it was out there, so now I know. So
Yep. Now it's out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Find it.
James, thank you for coming in.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Best of luck to you. Sheriff Asher, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I think I'm here to do what most other people are doing as well, is getting the book straight before the end of the year. So we need to take $5,000 from insurance in the lit 1170 fund to FICA. I think that'll get us whole for the rest of the year,
Okay,
the last 3 weeks or so.
okay.
So that's what I have. Got-
You have a fan too.
I have a fan too. We're the only two left in the world. I got a couple other things to bring up. Maybe I'll delay it. Maybe Andy Van Bosch will ride in here
I'm
in a
hoping he
second.
comes in, yeah.
We'll see if he comes in here. So I got a couple other things to talk about. Martha was at the county commissioner meeting Monday night. I had Jamie Whitaker from Mental Health America, Indiana here Monday night to talk about the program that we definitely want to get started at the jail. We're planning on starting that in January. He was supposed to be here tonight, but I think he got a little delayed. He works down in Indy, so a little delayed. So I wanted him to kind of explain this, but I will do my very, very best to try to talk about it. So some of the programs we have, I guess I'm delaying for Brian as well.
Right.
There you go. I thought Andy Vandenbosch was going to roll right in the door. So we have several programs that we do at the jail. So we have a full-time mental health person from Quality Correctional Care. That's our contracted doctor service. So she works 40 hours in the jail Monday through Friday, obviously on call other times as well. We have a grant availability from the Indiana Sheriff's Association that will pay for another full-time mental health therapist. So they'll transfer money. Luckily, we don't have to do any of the paperwork or anything with that. Quality Correctional Care handles all that. So that should give me my second full-time mental health therapist at the jail, which, as we all know, we have just a smidgen of an issue with that. So I think that's going to be good. So that's going to be a good piece to have those two full-time in the jail. One of the pieces I think we're missing is peer coaches, peer recovery coach. We've kind of had, Turning Point was in there for a little bit. I know there are some staffing issues and such. Through Mental Health America, Department of Mental Health Services as well, there's some grant money out there to do what they call an IRACS program, Integrated Reentry and Correctional Support. So having a couple mental health in the jail, trying to help out with that situation. Well, the piece is when they get out, where are they going to go? What kind of services do they need? Well, how can we help them do that? That's what these peer recovery folks will do. And a nice warm handshake. They can follow people out the jail. My mental health people can't. My correctional staff cannot. My deputies cannot either. So they can literally follow people out of the jail if they need a ride somewhere, they need housing, whatever kind of mental health services or recovery services. Luckily, we're blessed, I think, in this community with Turning Point, with the detox centers that they have, a lot of services they provide. Wabash Recovery is another one. Obviously, I'm going to name a couple, and I'm sure I'm going to forget 6 others. But as you know, there's First City Recovery, Valley of Grace. Like I said, I'm sure I'm both hospitals. So like I said, we had services, but how are we going to get these folks to them? So I think this program is going to be fantastic. Kind of a miss piece that we're kind of missing out a little bit. IRACS has just started last year. They did it in 5 county jails. Dearborn County, which is a good friend of mine. We both got elected at the same time. He's the one that contacted me and says, you got to do this because it has helped reduce his jail population with recidivism. So that's where I first heard about it. Jamie Whitaker, like I said, is going to be helping with this. He started in our jail when he worked at Turning Point, and this kind of program really stemmed from Howard County. He takes it down to Mental Health America, and then they've kicked it out to other jails. Scott County is another one. Delaware County is another one. Blackford County is another one. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody in the middle of that, but I've talked to every one of those sheriffs, absolutely rave about the program, how it's helped kind of reduce their jail population because of hopefully getting these folks some services. As we know, I got about 350-ish or so inmates, and just about 350 of them need some kind of services when they get out or need some help, as we know. So I think it's going to be a good piece for us to do. At least wanted to introduce it to you. Like I said, Martha got a better version of it Monday night at the commissioner meeting. So I did my best to kind of explain what that is. So I think it's hopefully going to help out with that. Another thing we're going to be starting at the jail is a puppy dog. It's not a therapy dog. It's a drug training. It's a drug dog. Is what we're going to have. Mark McCann, my favorite prosecutor back here, my only fan. I don't even think my wife would clap for me, so I appreciate that. We're able to buy the dog with his funding, so it didn't cost us there with that. And little Sadie's a year-old Labradors. It's not a tracking dog. It's looking for drugs only. She should be done with her training. It's one of my correctional staff is going to have that dog with him every day at the jail. Take it home every night with him. So it'll be a good addition to checking the mail, checking packages come in, whether it's employees we need to check, whether it's inmates, inmate workers. Obviously, there's an issue, unfortunately, with jails of getting stuff in that we do not want to get in. So I think we've got a pretty good job of trying to stop it. I think a big portion of that was the admin worker that used to come over and clean our admin side. So we've kind of stopped that chain of this, but obviously there's others. I was at a meeting yesterday at Miami Correctional. They, of course, have the same issue that we do as well. They kind of was talking about the same thing, and they do have drug dogs up there as well. So that's something that's getting ready to kick off. So we'll have a little media frenzy, I hope, here in the next few weeks. Maybe we'll wait till after Christmas. January sounds a better time to do it. So another thing we have coming up is Christmas Behind Bars this Saturday. So there's several churches that get together. So we have a church program, starts at 8 o'clock Saturday morning with the ladies come in, do a little small church service, maybe a song or two, and then they get packages for Christmas. So I think it's a great thing. I'll be there. A lot of churches, like I said, participate in doing this. So I think it's a good thing we have them come in and do it as well. So I want to shout out to my COs. If anybody had a chance to watch We Care last weekend or actually rolled in and bought your cheese ball like I did, or 5 of them, anyways, I think I bought 5 of them. Our COs are there at the front door with security, so they're 24 hours a day. They all volunteer to do it. We do not pay them to do it. But I think it's a great function that we have as law enforcement presence there. They've helped them take money to the bank. As we know, there was a little bit of money rolling through the door during that weekend. So my folks do, I think, a fantastic job with that. I was going to shout out to Amber Toll. She's helped us a lot here. We needed some gas lines from one building to another. They popped up and helped us really quickly. So I told her that, or I announced, hey, how we doing? Jamie Whitaker is here. I think I explained it the best I could. So if they have any questions, we'll hit you up. But I've already kind of explained it. So I appreciate you coming. I think I did all right. So if you have any questions about the IREX program, Jamie Whitaker from Mental Health America Indiana is here. So like I said, great county highway. That's a great thing. One of the things we've kind of talked a little bit about this. In the last 2 weeks, I've lost my second deputy to outside employment. So kind of was thinking the chink in the armor was coming. The first one went to outside employment. I got a letter today for my second one now is going to outside employment as well. So now I've lost 2 deputies, would be behind on 2 deputies. Jail staff, we obviously know there's still a fight with that, but we're trying everything we can do. Christina's on the horn. See that smiling face? She's on the horn all the time.
Deputies,
Yes.
merit officers or COs?
No, merit deputies.
Okay.
First time I've ever lost a merit
Are
deputy like
these,
that.
you
So-
say outside employment, are they going to other departments?
No.
Or are they going out of?
Private
Private
sector.
sector.
So they're going
Yeah.
out of law enforcement?
Yeah, out of law enforcement altogether and going into private sector. So little more lucrative when it comes to that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but we're going to make it through. So that's just something that, like I said, literally just popped up in the last 2 weeks, and one was just literally today. It was kind of a little bit of a surprise for losing such a young deputy.
So when that happens, do you have a formal exit interview process and all that? Or-
Yeah. Matter of fact, I spoke to the young lad today. Yeah. He spoke about how wonderful the sheriff was.
He was right.
Yeah. There you go.
In your hiring process, how close are you to getting to that last stage where you can actually get them on board?
For some new deputies, you mean? Yeah. Luckily, we have a hiring process that we had finished last year that we have a couple people left on that list. So yes.
Okay.
And we're in the process of starting, and we've already did our testing for, so to speak, next year. So we'll see what comes out of that. I think we only have 2 people left on that in the hiring process as we go. We had 7 people show up for testing, and I think 2 people are left getting ready to do background checks for them. So yeah.
Did you hire your part-time cooks that you talked about the last time?
No, still waiting for Peggy to show up.
Well, a couple of
So,
questions came
no.
up about that. I was talking about that with some people, and they asked, when you say part-time, how many hours a week is that or something? Or does it just
About
depend?
60.
15 to 30 hours. And I understood you said availability is way more important than cooking skills.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Running a tight ship would be much more important because you're not a correctional staff necessarily, and you're not necessarily cooking the food either. We have inmate workers that do most of that cooking, who are supervising our inmate crew.
Frank is going to find you.
He's going to find me
Part-time
somebody else.
cook.
I'm looking for it. That's great.
Yeah.
Yes, Martha.
Appreciate your proactivity to be prepared for the deputies and for getting places for the people when they leave jail. And that's this gentleman back here. I was just really impressed because that's what causes the, I can't say the word.
Recidivism. It's
Yes.
hard for me too.
Right.
It's a
But he
recidivism.
said 75%. What is the?
Jamie, you want to come up and just give us? I hate to drag you all the way here and not
That's
let
okay,
you
I'm in the
speak.
basement and the second.
Oh, you're
floor,
still looking
in the third floor, so I find out where I was supposed to be.
Jamie Whitaker, Mental Health America.
How you doing?
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, so in our original launch site for the first year, we launched in 5 jails. And we picked some county jails and urban jails, south part of the state, north part of the state. We tried to spread it out to see what the impacts would be. So with our teams working along with the court, community corrections, probation, and other people in the court systems, we were able to increase the success rate of people reentering back into the community to 75%. And so 75% of the people who left jail, who we had time to work with, stayed engaged during that reentry process, followed their plan, and were able to use the resources that were there. And then after the period of the year, we measured recidivism. And it's a hard word for me to say too, so I keep practicing. Now, again, I mean, it's hard. How do you measure recidivism? What does that mean? Did they come back in 6 months, a year, 2 years? Is it reoffense? Is it new charges? I mean, how do you define what that is? So we just made it really clear. We just said that if someone was in jail before and they had been in our program or been inside the jail while we were doing the program and they came back for any reason, we were going to consider that recidivism. So that's how we just made it super simple. And after measuring that for the year in all 5 jails, our recidivism rate nationally is 58%, Indiana's 48%. We got ours down to 19. And then the jail populations, we looked at all the jail population, we measured it across, and as the sheriff would say, populations number go up and down usually. But when you look at the scope of the year before versus the year it was there, we look about a 23% population drop from people from before Iraq to after Iraq. So
that's 19% of the, excuse me, of the people you've worked with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there are people we didn't get a chance to work with. People who get arrested on a Saturday and they bond out on Sunday, or they get arrested on a Tuesday and they go Wednesday court, and court pops them out first thing.
But those people don't count in your statistics?
We do count them. We did count them. We measured whether they stayed engaged for the success rate, right? We did count. So we measured the population we had a chance to work with versus the population we didn't. And that's how we gauge our success rate. We say, well, how many of these people stayed engaged? Or we were able to get on the radar and get engaged in services versus how many people who we worked with did. And that's how we came up with our numbers. So, yeah, we did a really good job. We hired an outside evaluation team to come in and evaluate us. This year we have a team from MIT that's evaluating all of our numbers, and we'll have those available again next year. I have a real long 26-page report. If you're looking for some bedtime reading, I'm more than happy to send it out to you guys. It's a page turner, but there's some good data in there. Yes,
Is there
sir.
any difference in the recidivism rate between men and women? And a significant difference, or would you say?
Not really, not really. And you know, like our, we did everything. We looked at demographics, we looked at DCS cases and how many people were able to stay engaged. We looked at race, ethnicity, and really, I mean, across the board, it was just, it was more the impact of the things like substance use and, you know, having access to treatment, having access to insurance, making sure they can get the medications they need, making sure that they have the resources like housing, food, clothing, the things. So we call those recovery capital. So the IRACS teams, once we meet with everybody as soon as they hit jail, everybody, and we do a full intake. We get 180 pieces of information off folks right at that intake space, and then from there going forward, there's a whole host of resources. There's a whole process they'll follow while they're in jail, and the goal is they have insurance, they get an ID, that we apply for the birth certificate, Social Security card. We look at housing, food, clothing, transportation, employment. We look at all of it, and so every team has different members that do different things. And then our goal is when they leave jail, they have someone that they build a relationship with, and then we stay with them from the time they leave the door going forward. And then we measure how they're doing. If they need additional resources, we get them in. So that's what the IRACS program does as a whole. And it collaborates very closely with the courts, community corrections, probation, everybody, and then works in the direction of the sheriff. Funding, yes. We were very blessed first year to get funding through Recovery Works from Governor Holcomb and DMHA. With our success rate and our numbers being so high, the governor's office and DMHA doubled our money for this year, so they continued to fund the sites for last year, and then they added us 6 additional sites this year. All of our discussions to the point, at this point, we're going to start working on a new scope for state fiscal year 25 in March. That looks like to continue to expand.
How much funding are you getting from the governor, can I ask?
Total $5.2 million. 5.2 million.
Thank you.
And we have 11 sites across the state right now that we're launching this year, and then hoping to continue to expand this. And our hope is that we can turn this into state infrastructure, allow this to be something that's available on every site. That way, if you're arrested in Marion County and you work with an IRX program and then you get out and you get rearrested in Johnson County, same resources are there no matter where you go. And then the sheriffs can collaborate on how they feel like those programs are working and resources can be built around it. So that's our hope. But I can say that we're also working right now. As you guys know, there's 2 buckets of money with Recovery Works. One is for community dollars and then more about community services. The other is just for criminal justice, just for the justice system. So our funding comes out of that criminal justice bucket. And we are asking right now, there is already a model set in place here in Indiana to bill Recovery Works as a service so that the IRX team could ultimately bill this as a service. So we're asking next year that the state look at IRX becoming a billable service to an extent point. It would not cover the whole program, which is why I came out and talked to city and county leaders, because we know that there'll be a portion of that program that will have to be funded locally. That'll be part of that community buy-in. That's why I presented to you guys, and then of course to the commissioners and city mayor and council, and the commissioners already committed money from the city, which I thought was fantastic of them to go ahead and to have the commissioners commit money for the city. So that was great.
Mr. Whitaker, what was the recidivism rate for the United States, Indiana, and Howard County?
58% nationally. And again,
50% of
58% they say are, and this is a BJ.
come back into the program. They come back into jail.
Well, that's not the program. It's just
They come back to jail.
people leaving incarceration have 58% come back to incarceration
Right.
on a national level. Indiana's rate, when they measured that in 2021, was 48%. And then so far, our first year showed us at 19% average. So I think our lowest was, I believe, like 13%. Our highest was like 24 in the site. So it averaged out about 19%. So, and really, I mean, we already have tons of great resources, great judges, prosecutors, everybody. It's just a matter of making sure there's no gaps where people fall through the cracks and figuring out what we need to make sure all the resources are there. And peers do a great job of that.
You know, I can't help but notice that as we look at the news and the media and the world's falling apart, that tonight, this presentation, we had Dustin DeLong from probation tell us that there was a waiting list for work release, which is really good because you got to qualify for that. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
And Sheriff Asher came up and was sharing with us the information of the program, of the population, the jail population dropping down to about 360, 365, something like that, which is it's a good start. And this program, it seems like in days of past, it was lock them up and throw the key away, which I'm a subscriber of. But now it looks like it is, let's give them some help. And if they can be wise enough to take the help, it can be life-changing and probably financially a better deal for the taxpayer also. Is that true?
It is. Well, I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, one, I think that our leadership here in the state have done a great job. In the last 2 years, Indiana is one of the few states in the U.S. that have had our overdose death rates drop by 20% last year. All the evidence shows that it's going to drop again by another 20% this year. And I will tell you that I work with states all over the country, and I've been to Indiana's doing a lot of great things. I think that Howard County's doing, I mean, I'm from Howard County. At one point in time, I'm a guy on long-term recovery, used to struggle with drugs really heavily. I was a taxpayer burden at one point in time, and I was actually a frequent flyer out to Howard County Jail. So, you know, having people who have overcome addiction, overcome mental health challenges, who are from the community, overcome those things, go back in the community and be able to speak into the people's lives who are in there and incarcerated. Have an opportunity to connect with people who are in those struggles in a way that like no one else can, because they've been there, and it takes people like 2 seconds to realize I've been there. You know, it's not hard to realize. So you get an instant connection. When you couple that with resources that the sheriff is providing, and then great judicial partners and other people in the community, and then the resources you guys are pouring into what's already there, we fill in all the gaps, and you see an impact that shows that not only can we change the way we're doing this rather than just locking everything, throwing the key, we create opportunities for people to succeed and overcome their circumstances and see that they have a new opportunity and a new way to do life.
And become a member of the community.
And give back.
Yeah.
And all of our IRX peers across the state are all people in recovery. Every person, 86 of them, they're all people who have overcome addiction or mental health challenges, who once have been incarcerated in the jails. Dearborn County is one of the ones I talk about all the time. The sheriff who is there now, at one point in time was a drug task force sheriff. arrested the supervisor of the IRAX program one time, took him down, arrested him, and he's the one that sent him to prison. And now they work together in the jail in Dearborn County. And it's amazing the things they're doing. And I tell you, IRAX was started here. When I worked at Turning Point here in Kokomo, I got the idea to start IRAX working right here with Jerry in his jail. And so that's what bloomed all this across the state, started here in Howard County. And so I'm really proud to bring it back and have it back here. And I think Kokomo is going to do great things with this, without any doubt.
Go ahead.
I had a question about if somebody's released from jail and they're in this program, do they have to get periodic, like drug tests, urinalysis tests? And does your company pay for those tests, or is that they're out-of-pocket tests?
Anything that's done around drug testing is done through the courts and court direction, and those are usually paid for, whatever, however way. I think they use AverHealth here in the community, and that's usually court ordered, and I think the individual has to pay some part of that, and then the other part. Our program, ultimately, we don't do any drug testing whatsoever. We're working so closely and internetted with the court and probation and corrections that they do all the leading, we just follow and then provide support.
The court directs that.
Yeah, court directs pretty much everything.
They leave the jail on pretrial or some kind of services, community correction, or on probation, supervised or unsupervised, or get out after their sentence is over with. That would be something that correction.
Yeah.
Peer guide.
Yeah.
What is the acronym that you're using, IRAX? What's that?
It's an Integrated Reentry and Correctional Support Program. And it's a real long name, I know. In hindsight, it might have not been the best name to create, but it sounded great at the time.
Reentry, not rehab, reentry.
Integrated Reentry and Correctional Support, what we call it.
It sounds like we're getting smarter and we're willing to put money where it needs to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing great results. And that's the thing. And I will tell you, and I'll tell you too, I think, Gary talked to the sheriffs across the state about this. And when you go in the jails, I went in there when we first started IRAX, and it was a jail, and it felt like a jail. And that's okay. It's what jails are supposed to be. But when you go into those jails now, they feel more like recovery centers. You can see the atmospheres change, the stress level on the correctional staff's different, stress level inside the jails different, the critical incidents, the fights, the other things that happen drop. I mean, it really does change the culture of the jails, and it's exciting to see.
Great.
Mr. Whitaker?
Thank you for being
2-minute
here.
presentation.
I apologize for running all of your trying to figure out where I'm supposed to be. I think I do that more often than I should.
Thank you for coming in and sharing
Absolutely.
all the information with us. It's very well received, to say the least.
Thank you very much.
And he did
Appreciate
better
it.
than you, Jerry.
I guarantee you did better than I did. So, yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you both. So we're still in transfers, aren't we? Well, I think we've heard from everybody except for Public Defender Andrew Vanden Bosch. And, well, by golly, Madam Auditor, what should we do on this?
We need to approve it.
We need to approve it?
Yes,
And why is that?
so that we don't have any accounts in the negative at the end of the year. And his explanation, he just needed additional supplies for office as well as to provide some office supplies for deputy public defender cases. And I feel like he kind of has pretty specific amounts, so I think it's to cover some of the purchases that
Okay,
he would like to make.
okay, so although not here, we set a pretty firm rule earlier. But this is the last meeting of the year, so we're kind of under the gun, right?
Yes, and it's a transfer, so he already has the money in his budget.
Okay,
So I would say,
The transfer, not an additional appropriation.
right.
yeah. And we're nearing the Christmas season, so kindness and generosity too, right? So we can do that. Would the council members be okay with that, since it is the last meeting of the year and there is reason to get this taken care of for the state to approve our numbers? Would the
Just to
coun-
be clear, based on what Jessica said, I'd be okay even if it wasn't the last meeting of the year.
Okay. If everybody's okay with that, we'll go ahead and vote on additional transfers. Are there any questions or comments about the transfers? If not, I will entertain a motion.
So moved to approve the resolution of number HCCR 23 transfers.
Do I hear a second? Second. Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilwoman Lake and Councilman Sanders. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next order of business will be the salary ordinance amendments.
Ordinance number 2023-HCCO-50, salary ordinance amendments. An ordinance amending and increasing staffing and salary authorization to be paid county employees for the calendar year effective January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, as originally approved for the year 2023, except where otherwise noted. Be it ordained by the Council of Howard County, Indiana, that for the said fiscal year, the following salary amendments are approved as additional changes to the basic salary ordinance for the same fiscal year. Necessary personal services appropriations have been approved previously to support the required expenditure of necessary funds. County General, FICA, $100,000. PERF, $100,000. Insurance reduction, $200,000. Auditor, First Deputy Property, $47.10. Second Deputy Finance reduction, $413.95. First Deputy Finance, $366.85. Prosecutor, Deputy Prosecutor Superior Court 3, $49,811.68. Deputy Prosecutor Superior Court 4, $17,640. Deputy Prosecutor Magistrate Court, reduction $67,451.68. Lit Special Purpose Fund, FICA, $90,000. PERF, $120,000. Insurance reduction, $210,000. Health Fund, PERF, $8,000. Insurance reduction, $8,000. Lit Public Safety Fund, FICA, $5,000. Insurance reduction, $5,000. Reassessment Fund, insurance, $12,500. Auditors and Eligible Deduction Fund, Second Deputy Finance reduction, $104.12. First Deputy Finance, $104.12. Title 4D Incentive Prosecutor Fund, FICA reduction, $1,800. Insurance, $1,800.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments about the salary ordinance amendments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the salary ordinance and amendments.
For a second? Second. Motion has been properly made and seconded by Councilman Alexander and Councilman Cuthbert. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Our next order of business will be old business, and it is to address the county council meeting schedule for 2024. At the last meeting we had last week, November's meeting, we made some suggestions to think about, and that is to combine one of the meeting days in August and another one in October. In October, we talked about putting the budget and tax levy adoption meeting from October 10th and adding it to the regularly scheduled council meeting on October 22nd. And was there any comments about the schedule anybody wants to discuss, or any thoughts
Just
on it?
moving that back 2 weeks strikes me that the delay in the processing of that. And that's not a long meeting, that usually, that final budget approval. But I'm not sure how that impacts, if you said, hey, let's wait until the 22nd, my judgment is that that kind of delays a few things that need to happen, and maybe the workflow for the auditor's office to finish up and finalize the whole budget would be better if you gave them that. So frankly, I don't have any problem with the way the schedule is laid out here, and I don't mind coming in for a half an hour on the 10th. But I'll also say that I'm not working like you are on a regular basis, so my perception on that may not be the same as everybody else's, but I just want to give the people that have to finalize the budget and enter those things and do the cross the Ts and dot the Is and do that, all that stuff, the appropriate time that they feel they need to get it done. And I would say moving it to the 22nd would be for our convenience, but may be an inconvenience to them.
And I agree with you. I've been auditor, okay, and we've put them together. I've never had them separated like we did this year. And like Jessica, as she's auditor, is doing, I think there's more transparency whenever you have the budget approval by itself. When you look up the minutes online, I think when you have the budget approval by itself, that it is easier to spot and easier to work with. However, I don't work during the day either, okay? So a meeting at either time works for me. So, and the minutes they're a little difficult when you're trying to put two meetings together in one set of minutes, okay? And you're doing budget sessions and a regular meeting at the same time. And we did that, but it was hard to make sure that you could distinguish which was which.
Any other comments about the October schedule from any members? What, Madam Auditor, what is the deadline for the budget and tax levy adoption? What is the
I
deadline?
honestly don't know the exact date
Yeah.
of the deadline. I feel like it's right at the beginning
Of November.
November.
First of November, I think.
Which-
I thought we heard that last Friday.
Yeah, November 1.
Yes. So, I mean, I agree with Martha that it does make it a little bit more difficult to, open the meeting, close the meeting, but also if there's any corrections that we would need to make, approving it on the October 22nd kind of puts us short too, but it would be easier on our office to do the October 10th, but that's going to be your guys'
Right.
decision.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, by October, after preparing for the budget for 2025, what this will be next year, and all the meetings we have to attend, and we do attend, and that's part of the program. By October, I wouldn't mind one less meeting. I would embrace one less meeting personally, but this is for the council to decide. I'm just in the middle, literally.
I liked it the way we used to do it, but I would do it however, I'm okay with coming in on the extra day, that's fine, it's not a problem for me, and if it makes it easier for the auditor's office, I think that's fine, because it doesn't really bother me one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to wear a tie on that, coming in on the 10th, right? That could be.
What
that
is
could
it
be
with
the
you and
thing at
ties, Frank?
Tisdale.
We could make it a casual.
Casual meeting.
I'm okay. I like efficiency, but if everybody wants to keep it as presented, that's fine with me, so.
Okay.
It's easy enough for me to come in an extra day if it makes it easier for
Yeah.
them.
Councilman Sanders?
I'm good with it either way.
Either way. Okay, how about the August meeting? We asked about moving that August 27th meeting up a week earlier to add it on to the Thursday, August 22nd meeting and knock two birds out with one stone. That was a suggestion I made last week, but we haven't talked about that. Do we want to?
My thoughts on that is I like to keep those separate. That's an awful long day as it is.
Yeah.
To tack a meeting on at the end of it.
Well, Auditor Jessica Secrease mentioned that it's really important, and I think she's onto something there, about when you have your budget session cap on, it's really important to keep focused on that. And then the regular meeting coming back a week later, it's really a different mindset. And it's probably better to keep that separate. And as I brought that up, I'm going to just kind of nix that officially with that August 2nd. So I guess I'll entertain a motion. Do we want to keep this as is or adjusted? I think I'm hearing that we want to keep it as written. Is that correct?
I move we keep it as is, as it's presented.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilman Faulkner and Councilman Alexander. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, schedule has been set and accepted. Thank you. Is there any more old business we need to tend to? Is this new business?
It is. The council has appointments to various committees for 2020.
And who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Pam Isaac, projects manager. I hope you all know me, but that's okay. The
Welcome.
council has appointments to various committees for 2024. You approved Alan Gurton to the Kokomo Howard County Public Library. I need a certificate signed this evening. You also have an appointment to the Greentown Public Library, Donna Graham. So I'll need a certificate signed on that. Russell Hopkins for the Board of Zoning Appeals. And Beth Harshman to the Alcohol and Beverage Commission. These are people who have served in the past who have wanted to serve again. So they've been your appointments previously.
And they're all happy? They're all...
I have no idea about their happiness, but I'm assuming that they chose they asked to be reappointed, so I'm assuming that that they're happy with their committee and the committee chairs are happy with them being on it, so.
Okay.
So do we need to just approve them again? Is that what we
Yes.
need to do?
These are reappointments.
Okay, so.
Let's get the names down again. I know Alan Gertson,
Okay.
we already approved Alan Gertson.
You've already approved Alan Gurton.
So we don't need to approve him again.
Nope, you don't need to reapprove him. For the Greentown Public Library, Donna Graham. Alan Gurton was for Kokomo Public Library. Donna Graham is for the Greentown Public Library. Russell Hopkins is for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
How long are those Board of Zoning Appeals?
This will run from
Terms.
January 1 of '24 through 12/31 of '27, so it's a 4-year appointment.
And his name is Russell
Russell Hopkins.
Hopkins. Thank you.
And then Beth Harshman is for the Alcohol and Beverage Commission. That is a 1-year appointment. So they are renewed every year.
She's been on there forever.
Ever.
She knows what she's doing.
Okay. Well, I guess we need to vote on recommending or reappointing Donna Graham to the Greenhouse or the Greentown Public Library, Beth Harshman to the Alcohol Commission, Russell Hopkins to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Is that right and proper, Alan?
Yes, it
This will
is.
work?
Right, and
Yes.
then there's another one.
Alan Gurton, you've already approved.
Okay.
Well, is there any questions or comments about these fine citizens of our community? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve them.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilman Faulkner and Councilwoman Lake. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Is there any other council business we need to tend to? Well, hello.
Hi. I have my recorder perpetuation ordinance that I need you guys to approve and sign off on, please.
Okay. And for the camera, who are you?
Tori Kelly, the county recorder.
County Recorder.
Oh.
Thank you for coming, Tori.
Yeah.
And what is this?
The ordinance for the recorder perpetuation fund. I can supplement the office and pay for supplies and for our salaries and insurance and all that comes out of that.
And you're required by law to do this.
Yes, that's the other part, required by law. And Alan helped get it together for me, so I appreciate that, thank you.
Can you explain this, what we're doing here, just for everybody's benefit?
So that is to appropriate, I think it's $400,000 to supplement for salaries and supplies and whatnot for the office to take care of for the 2024 calendar year.
Okay.
Because she's not taking that from the general fund, she's doing it from the perpetuation.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, thank you for coming in. Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor of approving the Recorder's Perpetual Fund, ordinance number 2023 HCCO 52. I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilman Alexander and Councilman Sanders. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming in, Tori.
Thank you guys.
Do we need to give this right back to you?
I will need it.
Okay. That's very good. Is there any other council business we need to tend to before we close her down? Any questions or comments?
I have a comment. Last Friday, Councilman Frank Faulkner and Councilman Brett Sanders and I went to that meeting that was out at Ivy Tech, and it was County Government 101, and then they went into how TIFs operate and how abatements operate, and it was a great meeting. I just want to say, I mean, I thought, Government 101, do I need to go to that? And I thought, well, you can always learn something, and there was a lot to be learned in that meeting. So I thank the people who put that meeting on. And I'm not sure whether that was a DLGF or if it was, what was the name of the group? Captain something, anyway. But it was a really good meeting, and it was nice to have cohorts there.
Well, all right.
I also thought it was very excellent and worthwhile going, and learned some things. It was basically targeted for fairly new, recently elected people, some city council people. And there were, like the mayor of Peru was there, the mayor of, I think Rochester, and several others. And basically, good stuff. Baker Tilly gave us a lot of good stuff. And frankly, I think we should have I'm going to call it a financial consultant that we can go to. And I'm not exactly sure how that's done, but I think it's a very good idea and could be worthwhile.
They talked about a 5-year plan, and I know Councilman Sanders thought that was a good idea, but that may be something that we need to talk about when we're not at the end of a meeting, okay? So, but it was enlightening. And some counties do have 5-year plans, but a lot of counties don't have them, so.
Well, it's better to be proactive than reactive. It's better to have a compass than not to. And there's always room for improvement.
Yes.
Sign me up. I'd like to say, as we finish up the last meeting of this 2023 year, that it has been a pleasure and a challenge. It's been a growing year for myself, but it's been a pleasure to work with everybody as we navigated the waters of county government and the fiscal responsibilities to work with all you fine people. Somehow, collectively, we got the job done. We're in good standing financially. Our checks don't bounce. We don't have to sell our assets. We're able to manage and do the right thing. And it's just been, I'm really grateful and I'm thankful. And I'm looking forward to 2024 being even better as we continue to improve and grow. And I just want to thank you all. And that's all I have.
Thank you, John. Thank you for your leadership this year.
And thank you to Jessica.
Yes, Jessica and Gabrielle, and Sheriff Asher, Sheriff Stevens, and Corey Kelly, Pam Isaacs.
Mackenzie down there.
And Mackenzie, yes.
Yeah.
And if that's it, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilwoman Lake and Councilman Cuthbert. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion